I call this meeting to order at 7:13 p.m. Please note that this meeting may be filmed and or audio recorded. These meeting minutes, records, or any other data may be made available to the public. Are there any motions to recess until called back by the chair? Senator Mayor.
I move to recess until called back by the chair.
All right.
By unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. We will reconvene as soon as we are called back by the chair. Thank you. I call this meeting back to order at 7:17 p.m. Please note that these meetings may be filmed or audio recorded. These meeting minutes and any other addenda may be made available to the public. May the clerk please take the roll.
All right. Chairperson Stevens.
Present.
Vice Chair Marcelino.
Here.
Member Wang. Member Rush. Member Demare. Clerk Helton here.
All right, will any guests please say their name for the record?
Senator Rajmi is here.
Senator Melvin Iyer.
Senate President Diego Perez.
Minority Party Leader Liang.
Senate President Pro Tempore Nathan McGinnis.
All right, thank you. With 5 members present, quorum has been established. We will now move on to the chair's report. But brief is really brief and simple. Parliamentarian emailed me regarding the statute reorganization process. I will be focusing on that for the rest of my term. Obviously, we had certain assignments, but I'll try to reorganize those assignments and send them in the group me as appropriate. Apportionment, I've sent data requests to the SGAO office, specifically Jackie Phillips, requesting racial, ethnic data, and also all the data of all the student identities, their legal and local address. So look out for that information in the coming days. Cool. That will be my report. We're going to move on to old business. We're moving on to Assistant Supervisor of Elections. You will have 5 on your docket. I asked for you all to please review those. Is there any discussion? The only comment I have to make is that Matthew Wolf did slate with the Change Party. Therefore, they have indicated their identity as an affiliate within a political party, making them ineligible for ASOE. Okay. Are there any motions at this time? Senator Reich.
I move to use Assistant Supervisor of Election by unanimous consent.
By roll call? Okay.
For all of them?
Yes.
Would we have to remove the
Correct.
I rescind.
Okay, Senator Demare.
I move to Matthew Wolf of
So there wasn't a block established, so you would have to make a motion to establish a block.
I move to establish a block based on
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. Follow up. Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. Follow up. Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. And then any motion on Matthew Wolf? Vice Chair Marcelino.
I move to fail Matthew for ASOE by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. I will instruct the Senate President to please inform the Student Senate of the nominations at this time. Thank y'all for making this a quick and efficient process, despite the circumstances. We're now going to move on to tabled and postponed bills. I will note that there are 2 bills that have been withdrawn, both by Senator Rajmia. One is SSB 2023-118 and SSB 2023-1187. Once again, SSB 2023-1187, SSB 2023-1188. All right, we're going to move on to SSB 2023-1178. Its title, The Hatch Act 200 Codes Revision. It was authored by Senate President Oscar Santiago Perez, sponsored by Judiciary Chair Jonathan C. Stevens, Judiciary Vice Chair Joaquin R.C. Marcelino, and Senator Angelo Gangano. Is there any author or sponsor who would like to present?
I will yield my presentation.
Okay. I'll go ahead and present briefly. I mean, this is replicable within the government. I really just, I fail to see like how this is any sort of issue. If people have an issue with the assistants, then remove those. But otherwise, this just allows for our government to not be a way for us to just put in individuals just based off of political affiliation, but instead based off of their merit, and ensuring that those individuals are focused on their execution as a student body officer instead of their political affiliations, and ensuring that they maintain them in any sort of way. So that's all I have to really say presentation. Do you want to say anything?
Well, I mean, as I said before, we have a hierarchy of laws under which we fall under federal law and constitutionality. And so, seeing as this is implemented nationally and federally, I do not see a problem with the bill as it stands.
All right, we'll now move on to question and answers. Are there any questions? Seeing none, debate. Okay, 2 minutes final privilege.
I waive.
I waive.
I waive.
Gotcha. And then are there any motions at this time? Vice Chair
I
Marcelino,
move to approve SSB 2023-1178 by unanimous consent.
are there any objections? Got it.
I make the same motion by roll call vote.
All right, cool. Let's take the roll. We're going to go into Vice Chair Marcelino,
Yes.
Senator Wang, Senator DeMera, and Senator Reich. And then I will vote in the affirmative. That's a 3-2 vote. That motion fails. Any motions at this time? Yep, Senator Reich.
I'm table this for unanimous consent.
Are there any objections?
I object.
Objection.
I remake my motion by roll call.
Vice Chair Marcelino,
No.
Senator DeMera, Senator Wang, Senator Reich. And I'll abstain. That's a 3-1 vote. That motion passes. And that means SSB 2023-1178 has been tabled. We're going to now move on to SSB 2023-1185. The Excuse Document Act, EDA 300 Codes Revision. This was authored by Senator Raj Mia. There are no sponsors, so Senator Mia, whenever you're ready. Okay, we'll give you some time, but not too much.
So the excuse document was, I took your all's criticism from last time and I spoke to Jerome and SG advising about it. He said it sounds perfectly fine to him, as we do create documents for excuses for committees. He was like, okay, I get the line of reasoning. The only things when the document is made, have it under the understanding, just like the understanding for the budget documentation, was that professors can always overrule and have the final say. So he seemed everything was fine. So just like how the big project hearing, Jackie gave the document with the understanding of, hey, this is just notify the professors of it. They still have the final say. The professors will again have final say for this. This is more of like documentation to have a conversation with your professor about it, saying, hey, this is an official document. I am a part of UF Senate. It's an actual thing. $24 million budget. Everything explains it. So the professor can actually take into account when you going up to them saying, I have student government and I the excuse for this day. This actually gives you some oomph, but ultimately it's a decision up to them, and you have academic regulations, so it's just allows students to participate in student government, to perform academically and in their extracurriculars to their best of their abilities. Yeah, I'll yield to questions.
Okay, any questions at this time? Senator DeMera.
Are there any amendments that make Jerome's understanding?
So not necessarily should there be any amendments. It's just it should be when given. It should be under the understanding of this isn't like the gold standard document. This won't have the final say and everything. Just like how a doctor's note, the doctor signs off on it. The professor could say, "I think this is illegitimate." No, I'm not going to take that. You can take that up with whatever. It would have the same level as that. If you would like to make an amendment saying a line like saying specifically like this document isn't the end all be all, I mean, you can make that amendment. I mean, I think the document will stand as it is with the amendment that states that. It's just more to have documentation saying, I do have this. This is it. Follow up.
Follow up?
Yes. So it would be on the purview of SGAO to interfere within the recommendation component, right?
Let me see.
So SGAO when providing the letter was
So the way this bill is structured is that the document is produced by the Senate President and RNA Committee and the Pro Tem. They write the document and SGAO signs off saying, yes, there is in fact a Senate meeting happening.
Any other questions? Senator Reich.
Did he have anything else to say besides just giving the full?
Just as long as senators have the understanding that this isn't like the full force.
Vice Chair Marcelino.
So would you be amenable to a amendment to 333.020 to state at the end of it? However, it is not to be construed that this is the final approval of excuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other members wishing to speak in question and answer? Seeing none, 5 minutes debate. Senator DeMera. Oh, you rescind that? Okay. Any members wishing to speak in debate? I'll briefly touch up on this. I think that, again, as like we've noted, not only within our student body statutes, but also just practically as student senators, student government at UF is a lot different than a lot of other entities when it comes to not only the participation value, but the value that it adds to the university's mission. I think that there are many comparable things that we can also relate this to, excuse me. I mean, for instance, the fact that in a lot of cases, a lot of different sports, like people within like different competitive sports programs within this campus are excused from certain academic commitments just due to the fact that they're their nature of where they're going, their travel commitments, the extensive training they need to do, and also the fact that that is also a comparable piece of their
Time?
not just their time, but also their money. The fact that they do get financial aid in some cases because of this, or in most cases, if I'm correct. And student government, in a lot of ways, I mean, it's the reason why this building's still operational. It's the reason why a lot of different services on this campus are operational. It proves, I mean, a lot of individuals across this campus. I think that the amendment that, the Vice Chair's proposed not only helps to outline that this, again, isn't a final say, but again, it just allows for our student senators to know that there are options for them to get excused for certain academic commitments. And it, again, prevents folks from being removed just based off of their commitments to their academics and things like that, especially if we have these types of documentation that give them a chance to have availability. So any members wishing to speak in debate? We're going to move on to 2 minutes of final privilege.
I waive.
Waive. Any motions at this time? Vice Chair Marcelino.
I move to amend the title of the bill to state Student Senate Bill 2023-1185 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
Follow
up.
I move to make an amendment to section 333.020 to state at the end of that code to read, however, this code may not be construed to be understood as this document being the final approval of excuse.
So however, this code shall not be misconstrued. Construed. I'll spelling. To understand
that this documentation
that this
document shall not be the final say of approval of excuse. I guess that's a better way to word it. But
for excuse approval.
yes.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
Follow up. I move to approve SSB 2023-1185 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. SSB 2023-1185 has been approved. Sorry. We're going to now move on to SSB 2023-96. Remember, we are skipping 87 and 88. Is that it for you, Senator Mia?
Yeah, I withdraw my bills. You got the rest?
Thank you. All right, have a good evening. We're going to now move on to SSB 2023-1196. This is the Protect Student Voices Act. This was authored by Senator Nathaniel Pelton, sponsored by Judiciary Chair Jonathan C. Stevens, Judiciary Vice Chair Joaquin R.C. Marcelino, and Senator Raj Mia. Senator Pelton, whenever you're ready.
All right, so I come back to you guys again this week, representing this bill, the Protect Student Voices Act. I think it's a really great opportunity yet again for the executive branch to hear from the student body directly. I've given, like I said before, many opportunities for the executive branch if they choose to not engage with this sort of event, that they have the authority to not utilize it. I just think it's a great opportunity, like I said. I've tried to meet with President Green. I have asked relentlessly from the Chief of Staff to meet with President Green. I have left a note at her office to meet with her. I've even walked in through the door with her present and this Chief of Staff present, and I've yet to receive a response for a time to meet with President Green. I wish that I could have met her in order to give you guys a bit more of how she feels about the bill, but unfortunately I've not had the chance to. However, I still feel that since there are multiple sort of aspects of this bill that allow for it to be overlooked upon by the executive branch if they choose, that regardless of President Green's opinion on it, I think it would still be very valuable for the Senate to view this bill, and down the road, if President Green feels that she does not support this, she has the authority under the Constitution to veto the legislation. With that being said, I yield.
Thank you. Are the members wishing to speak in question and answer? Debate? Vice Chair Marcelino?
I mean, I really see no problem in doing this. We already mandate the student body president to already hold a state of a campus address, which if prior to this we didn't have one and we were to mandate that, it would maybe be misconstrued as an overreach. However, the legislative powers were indeed constitutionally given to the Senate, and that is what we are doing here, as is a constitutional mandate. And so I really do not see any problems with this. And as in the checks and balances, as Senator Pelton stated, the president does have a veto power, and that is her check and balance upon our legislative branch. However, we do not exactly defer everything to the student body president.
Thank you. Senator Mayor.
Point of information. Can I direct this to the author?
You can direct it to me and then I can forward it to them.
So would the author be amendable to an amendment that says in 535.1 the Student Governing Center Council may convene and make all instances of shall may?
Senator Pelton, did you hear the question clearly?
I did.
Okay, that's your chance
yeah.
to speak or not.
I would be amenable.
You would what?
I would be amenable.
Okay. Sorry. Any members wishing to speak in debate? So we'll move on to 2 minutes of final privilege.
Yield. Sorry, wait.
You'll yield? Awesome. Are there any motions at this time? Senator Mayor.
I move to amend all instances of shall to may when the bill by unanimous consent.
Give me a sec. Trying to find final place. Shall with may. Replace all instances of shall with may within the bill. Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. Any motions at this time? Oh, my goodness. That's what I did. Any other motions at this time? Senator Reich.
I move to change the title of this bill to SSP.
It already was.
Sorry?
It already was too.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Then I motion to approve this bill by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. SSB 2023-1196 has been approved unanimously. Congratulations. I'm just trying to find and replace all these. That's why it's not editable. There we go. Replace all. Perfect. Save. Thank you again, everyone, for being patient. All right, we're now going to move on to SSB 2023-1200. This is the Senator Attendance Transparency Act 300 Codes Revision, authored by Senator Rajmi and Senator Nathaniel Pelton. There are no sponsors, so Senator Pelton, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, thank you. So I just want to clarify again, last week I heard, and obviously there were a lot of concerns as to the feasibility of putting the absences of the senators online. I want to make it clear that the text of the bill clearly states that this is already a roll call list that has been created by the Senate President and is maintained already by the Rules and Ethics Committee. We're just simply stating that we want it to be posted online. All this does is place the list of absences onto the website in an area that has already been used many times to include the minutes. I do not believe that it would complicate the website or make it more strenuous on anyone to do this. It's very simple. It just gives people the opportunity to see when their senators are present and absent. That's all it is. So I yield.
Thank you. Are any members wishing to speak in question and answer? Debate. I'll go ahead and speak briefly. I think that, I concur with the presenter's comments. I think that, at the end of the day, this shouldn't be a difficult thing to add. This is simply just ensuring that the roll calls are placed on the website. I would like to entertain any sort of critique on anything or any 5 criteria violations presented here, but from a 5 criteria standpoint, there's nothing to critique. Any members wishing to speak in debate? 2 minutes of final privilege.
I waive.
All right, any motions at this time? Vice Chair Marcelino.
I move to amend the title of the bill to state Student Senate Bill 2023-1200 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow
I
up.
move to approve SSB 2023-1200 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. SSB 2023-1200 has been approved. All right. We're going to move on to SSB 2023-1201. The Senatorial Member Organization Act. This was authored by Senator Daniel Pelton. There are no sponsors, so Senator Pelton, whenever you're ready.
So again, I come to you this week to discuss the codification of the caucuses we have. I just want to clue you guys in on something really cool that's happened just this week. I've been working really hard to create the Green Caucus. I'm really trying to make it nonpartisan. And in that effort, we have just started a DM group chat on Instagram. You guys should totally join. It's really fun. We've all had a lot of really great conversation. And this code simply codifies the opportunity for us as senators to get together in a group and focus on whether it's an issue of green sustainability, or whether it's a group of individuals who want to focus on a certain identity and advancing that. So it's something we already do. All it is codifying it. This is something that every single government body in the United States has in some capacity. So please pass this bill. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any members wishing to speak in question and answer? Any members wishing to speak in debate?
I had a
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Vice Chair Marcelino. My apologies.
So with our previous discussion on this bill, do you have any sort of amendments with the limitations
Yes.
on membership?
Sorry. So I have pondered whether to make this a rules and procedures change, but I feel that regardless of whether it's in the RMP or whether it's in the codes, it doesn't matter. It's still codified. And so because it seems that the rules and procedures are something that we want to keep sort of very generalized, and this is more of a specific thing, I wanted to keep it in the codes rather than push it into the
I'm
rules.
so sorry. That was not my question.
Oh, what was your question? I'm sorry about that.
I said regarding the minimum membership limit of SMOs.
Right.
When
So, yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, there are groups in the Senate that are not represented or don't even have a minimum number of 3 or 4 individuals to create a group, particularly when it comes to identity groups. And so I don't want to keep that a minimum. Now, last week I did offer up the opportunity to, if someone wants to amend it, to create a limit on how many SMOs an individual senator can create in their term. I'd be more than happy to do that. Whether it's 1 or 2, I'd be okay with that. But I really, really object to any minimum for caucuses. That's all there is to say.
Any members wishing to speak in question and answer? Debate? 2 minutes of final privilege.
I waive.
Any motions at this time? Vice Chair Marcelino.
I move to amend the title of the bill to state Student Senate Bill 2023-1201 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow
I
up.
move to add myself to the sponsors line by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
Follow up.
I believe that there was a member, specifically Senator Rajmia, who requested to be a sponsor.
Follow up.
Walking, yep.
I move to add Senator Raj Mia to the sponsors line by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow up.
I move to approve SSB 2023-1201 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. SSB 2023-1201 has been approved. We have now finished our old business. So currently we have Raj has one bill that is within this. Obviously, if the committee within this block, if the committee deems that they just would like to proceed with the following in the same numerical order that we followed, we can move forward with that. But we could also allow him to speak. If anyone has a motion for that, I'll entertain it at this time.
You mean?
Like to present for the only bill that he can present.
Oh.
Yes, Vice Chair Marcelino.
I move to suspend the rules and hear SSB 2023-1210 up on the agenda by unanimous consent.
Any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. Any other motions at this time? All right, just so that everyone knows, we're going to go ahead and have vetoed legislation as the last business, so that's following Chief Justice nominations. We're going to now move on to SSB 2023-1210. This is the Graduate and Professional Student Summer Credit Exemption, GPSSCE.
information. What would we be doing with the vetoed legislation?
We would be reviewing it. We would be following the rules and procedures. I could read those out if need be. But we would essentially be reviewing it, seeing if there's any amendments, or we would forward it to the Senate without amendment to initiate an override. So, yep. I'll read out the rules if that makes it a lot easier for everyone. All right. This is rule. Just make sure. Yeah. Rule 6, section 2A. I'm going to read from 2A down all the way till necessary. So, you good? Whenever the student body president has vetoed any legislation and returned it to the Senate, that legislation may be added to the agenda under vetoed legislation by the replacement agenda committee after the Judiciary Committee has reevaluated the legislation on its established criteria and will be debated pursuant to this section. The student body president will have 3 minutes to explain the reasoning behind the veto to the Senate. Alternatively, the Senate president will read a statement from the executive not to exceed 3 minutes. Following this, the bill's authors and sponsors will have 3 minutes to again present the bill and respond to the executive veto. And then it goes into things that will happen in the Senate, which I'm not going to bore you with at this time. All right, we're going to go move on to SSB 2023-1210, the Graduate and Professional Student Summer Credit Exemption, GPSSCE 300 Cost Revision. This was authored by Senator Angelo Gangano and Senator Raj Mia, and sponsored by Senator Raj Mia. Senator Mia, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, so what this bill does is allows graduate and professional students who are registered in a spring course full-time directly prior to a summer term to be eligible to be a senator still during the summer term. It effectively just makes them exempt from what bars them, which would be taking classes. As we all know, if you're enrolled in a program, you are a student. Over the summer, we're still technically registered as students in the eyes of UF, but current Senate rules and codes prevent us from being senators unless we take classes for graduate students. We've seen that the turnover rate is very high, so it'd be very, I think, easy and understanding for us to make an exemption for grad students, as they do make up around 30% of our A&S fees base, and they make up the majority of the population of UF. For them to actually be represented, because it's very hard for that representation to actually exist for both our graduate and professional students. So this is an exemption authored by Angelo as a graduate student to make sure the representation for graduate students stays as it is. I waive my time.
All right, thank you. Any members wishing to speak in Q&A? Debate? Senator Reich.
Yeah, I think that the issue I have with this bill is that there are senators or grad students who are able to take classes over the summer, and I don't think it would be proper representation for them to be not paying A&S fees for that specific term while managing millions of dollars in those fees that they wouldn't be paying for that semester. Because I feel like when we are doing actions in the Senate regarding the budget in the summer, that's with our own money as well as that of our constituents. And I don't know, it creates a real conflict in my head, if I'm being completely honest. And
What criteria is this under?
I guess this would be an implication.
Okay. Any members wishing to? Yep, Vice Chair Marcelino.
Well, I would note that A&S fees don't just come over the summer, but rather from tuition that we pay year-round. And graduate students who, quite frankly, have no opportunity to take any classes over the summer, and a lot of professional students who cannot take classes over the summer still pay those fees in other parts of the semester. And within the summer term where we do handle the A&S fees, we're still handling their money from every other point in time of the school year. And so with that argument, you could say that we're handling their money and we're not giving them a seat at the table, and we're quite disenfranchising them from doing so when we have limitations on when they can serve us. And because based on our codes, we have to do this budgetary legislation in the summer, where they quite literally cannot legally then serve and help us, or help even contribute to how their A&S fees are handled during that term, because of the limitations that we put on them arbitrarily.
Okay. Any members wishing to speak in debate? So when it comes to this section, I have a couple things I just want to note based off of the arguments. I think that it's very frustrating when we have this discussion that just because people are taking credits or have the opportunity to take credits that these individuals do have the capacity to be able to, again, execute the duties or be able to even vie for an office. I think we failed to assert the fact that, again, with a lot of these graduate students, these are individuals who do have to do different types of GA responsibilities, which takes up another toll on them. And sure, there's a lot of students on this role who have been in our roles who have done so, but again, it's a very extenuating process, and it, again, only puts graduate students and professional school students at a disadvantage. I'd be more inclined to tabling this, particularly just because I think that there are professional students that, can be easily identified just by looking at the summer registrar, summer schedule of courses that literally have no opportunity to take our class, or if they do, it is quite literally like impossible for them. And I think that it comes down to a huge constitutional issue that we would be approaching as to, are we going to uphold this one credit requirement just so that, and mind you, these individuals would be taking classes following semester, to uphold this one credit in order for, again, dentistry students, pharmacy students, law students to not have any representation whatsoever during the summer period. I think that's just something that we need to consider as a committee, because I think that it probably will be a constitutional conversation that may come up in the courts soon. That's all I really say. Any members wishing to speak in debate? Okay, 2 minutes of final privilege. Oh, Senator Reich. Senator DeMare, excuse me. Lawn day, right, running.
I concur with the sentiments expressed by the chairperson. I think that this is definitely a bill that we do. And
Any members wishing to speak in debate? Seeing none, 2 minutes of final privilege.
Well, yeah, I'll respect and pass on the committee's decision to Angelo. Just to touch on some points of criticism. As for the A&S fees, they, just to echo what Senator Vice Chairman Joaquim said, I think they do deserve a seat at the table. Ultimately, it is their fees that are being touched to an extent, though they might not be taking classes at that time. They have contributed to that fiscal year's budget, so it is their fees to an extent. It's just that they're not paying as much as students who are here over the summer. Additionally, there are grad students who are simply prohibited from taking any classes whatsoever based on their program, and it's just simply an extenuating circumstance. If you guys feel free to table this bill if you guys really believe that's the best option. I just think that a lot of grad students get demoralized and frustrated that they can't have representation, and what representation they can gets stripped of them at the most crucial point in SG, which is the summer, where we have our two biggest jobs, apportionment and budget. Everything else pales in comparison to those two jobs that we have, and ripping 30% of our population's representation at the same time we do our most important jobs is very striking. Additionally, I don't really have much else to expand on, to be honest. I waived the remainder of my time.
Thank you. Any members wishing to make motions at this time? Senator DeMare.
move to table this bill by consent.
Any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. SSB 2023-1210 has been tabled. I just ask that this committee, for all their comments that they've made, to please do contact the individual, especially considering that a similar bill's in third readings, and I think that it's best that we address this problem at the root. Yes?
Point of personal privilege. I have to leave at like 9:15.
We can, yeah, that's. I'll be very quick about
Thank you, I
this.
appreciate it.
We're going to move on to SSB 2023-1205. This is the resolution for the urgent need to establish the Creative Arts Needs and Values Accessibility Services Canvas project. Let's see real quick. Yep. And this was authored by Senator Seth Woodbury, sponsored by Senator Simone Liang, Senator Raj Mia, Senator Asif Islam, Senator Ankala Gangano, Senator Anthony Hockman, Senator Julia Cypher, Budget Chair Blake Cox, and Senator Shalisa Budai. Seeing as there are no author or sponsors present, we will now waive that period and we'll just go straight into debate. Any members wishing to speak in debate? Seeing none, we'll waive final privilege. Any motions at this time? Vice Chair Marcelino?
I move to amend the title of the bill to State Student Senate Bill 2023-1205 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow up.
I move to add myself, Chairperson Jonathan Chan Stevens.
Yep.
Senator Nathaniel Pelton, Senator Saket Dumera, Senator Navia Nair, Senator Lori Wings, Senator Matt Reich,
No, Matthew.
Matthew Reich,
Officially, it's Matthew.
Senate President Pro Tempore Nathan McGuinness. City sponsors line by unanimous consent.
So everyone at this table, essentially.
Yes,
Thank you.
and at the other table.
Oh, pro temp. Thank you. Senate. Huh?
No, not Oscar.
Pro tempore. All right. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow up.
I move to approve SSB 2023-1205 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. SSB 2023-1205 has been approved. We're going to now move on to SSB 2023-1206. This is the resolution addressing the need for a crosswalk across Southwest 2nd Ave between Southwest 3rd Street, Southwest 2nd Terrace, and or Southwest 2nd Street. This was authored by Senator Navia Nair and Senate President Oscar Santiago Perez, sponsored by Senator Angelo Gangano, Senator President Pro Tempore Nathan McGuinness, and Minority Party Leader Simone Liang. Will either you present, you'll have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
So yeah, this is just a similar resolution to the one that was passed last week addressing the need for a crosswalk in the District D area. This one is near the District A area. If you guys know where like the high dive is, it's like that stretch. There's like a good like 3 intersections that don't have any crosswalks. So this is just asking like we should probably have some. I also looked into it. These roads are City of Gainesville roads and under the Gainesville City Commission jurisdiction, meaning that we can facilitate communications in order to have these crosswalks. And yeah, I yield.
Thank you. Any members wishing to speak in question and answer? Debate. 2 minutes of final privilege.
Please do it. Also, I think there are more sponsors. I think Senator Hana Ali wanted a sponsor, and I don't know if anyone else. I don't know if I was supposed to say
I
that
can check
during
the
that
sponsor
time.
form. I actually haven't.
But if you guys would make a motion adding more sponsors, that would be great.
I'll pull those up real quick. Actually, can I just get a motion on the floor to retroactively put
Yes.
all the sponsors that were on the sponsorship
Yes.
form?
Yes.
All right, by unanimous consent.
So moved.
Any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. Any motions at this time? Vice Chair Marcelino.
I move to amend the title of the bill to State Student Senate Bill 2023-1206 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow
I
up.
move to approve SSB 2023-1206 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. All right, we're going to now move on to SSB 2023-1207. This is the Stop Light Pollution and Conserve Energy Space Act. Resolution, excuse me. This was authored by Senator Navia Nair and sponsored by Senator Angelo Gangano and Senate President Pro Tempore Nathan McGuinness. Senator Nair, whenever you're ready, or Pro Temp, whichever feels comfortable speaking.
So this bill is basically in the title itself. This is advocating to curb some light pollution that we got in the Gainesville area. This was actually brought to my attention by my replacement senator, Nima Arya, who is a physics major and really into astronomy and is in the astronomy club, and they were like, we gotta do stuff. So it's essentially saying that light pollution obviously is very negative to wildlife, human health, is a wasting of energy, and that there are ways to mitigate light pollution. I want to make it clear that this resolution is not asking to limit the amount of light on campus, because again, campus safety is important and I also want light, but it's just a more conscious way of viewing of creating light on campus, which would be downward facing lights, because for example in my constituent Keys, we have like upward facing light, so there's just light that just shoots into the sky, wasting energy when obviously we'd want it to the ground. Avoiding glare and utilizing dimming and motion controls, because I also think if you guys walk around campus, especially like in Levin Law, those lights are really bright just in the middle of the night, and so it's advocating to curb that. And also that UF and UT Austin have made measures to curb light pollution using LED lights, and yeah.
Thank you. We're going to move on to 5 minutes of debate, or question and answer. Any questions? Debate. 2 minutes of final privilege.
I yield.
All right, and then we're going to move to motions. Senator DeMera.
I move to add Senator Saki Tamara, Senator Matt Reich, Senator Lori Wang, Senator Nathaniel Pelton to the sponsors line by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. Follow up.
I move to amend the title of the bill from Student Senate Bill to Student Senate Bill 2023-1107.
Who else did you, wait, so you said you, Lori, Matt, Nathaniel Pelton, that's it?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. And what was your next motion? Please repeat, I apologize.
Give me 1 second. Just tell us. Okay. I move to amend the title of the bill from Student Senate Bill 2023 to Student Senate Bill 2023-1207.
Any objection? Any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. Follow up.
I move to approve the bill by unanimous consent.
Are any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. SSB 2023-1207 has been approved. Have a good night, Senator Nair. We're going to move on to SSB 2023-1208. This is the Sport Expansion Act, Rules and Procedures Revision, authored by Senator Hannah Ali. This was sponsored by Senate President Pro Tempore Nathan McGuinness, Minority Party Leader Simone Liang, Deputy Minority Party Leader Joaquin R.C. Marcelino, Senator Nathaniel Pelton, Senator Steve Islam, Senator Shalisa Budai, Senator Raj Mia, Senator Anna Alvarez, Senator Caitlin Matthews, Senator John Lynn, and Senator Angelo Gangano. Will an author or sponsor please present?
Okay, so
Vice Chair Marcelino, you'll have 5 minutes whenever you're ready. Go ahead.
hello everybody, welcome. So basically, what Senator Ali had in mind with the Support Expansion Act is basically bringing back what we've had in the past before, allowing our student government to actually have some sort of say, or at least show some sort of support for our legislation. But yeah, I mean, we've done this before. It's pretty straightforward. It's just allowing them to be able to add themselves to the sponsors line, add to the sponsors line. But yeah, that's about it. However, I myself am amenable to, because I can see some sort of conflicts with the supervisor elections and elections commission, so I am amenable to any things regarding that. But yeah, that's about it from me. I yield.
Okay, thank you. Are any members wishing to speak in Q&A? Debate. Senator DeMera, excuse me.
Yeah, so I spoke to Senator Ali about this bill. She made edits that I was very amenable to. I think this is a really good idea. To Senator Marcelino's point about the supervisor of election and the elections committee, I agree with that, but what I will say is that the supervisor of elections does have the ability to abstain from the sponsor line. I think, given that they're in a position, I think they might have an understanding of what to and what not to in terms of what bills they should or should not support. So I don't see any 5 criteria violations that I'd support the bill in entirety.
Okay. Any other members wishing to speak in debate? I agree with a lot of this. I think that obviously looking, strategically at this, I think that this protects the legislative authority that's vested within not only the Student Senate, but also the head officials within the executive branch. I think that the judicial commentary, again, it's something that, if it reduces this cat and mouse game that I feel like this committee has fallen into, whether intentional or not, where it's, did you speak to this individual? And then if not, then it's if you did and they supported it, it just gives a certification that individual did approve of this matter. It just reduces us having to go through and reviewing the same bills over and over again just because we wanted to hear one person give a thumbs up. So I really think that this does what it needs to do. And yeah, that's really all I have to say on the matter. Any members wishing to speak in debate? Seeing that, we'll move on to 2 minutes of final privilege.
I wave.
We're going to move on to motions at this time. Any motions? Vice Chair Marcelino.
I move to amend the title of the bill to state Student Senate Bill 2023-1208 by unanimous consent.
Any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
I move to approve SSB 2023-1208 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. SSB 2023-1208 has been approved. I would just also like to make sure that everyone knows that obviously if there's any sort of substantially similar concerns, because that is a provision within our rules and procedures. Based off of this provision, the previous two bills that were mentioned, they created a whole new section which was considered endorsements. And this only just pretty much expands the authority of the sponsorship line. I think those two, while sure they have very similar functionalities, don't necessarily have the substantially similar quality that I think would lead to it being filled on the Senate floor or being filled in committee. So if anyone has any issues with that, just let me know. We're going to move on to SSB 2023-1209, Authorization Order Senate Budgetary Funds towards the Establishment of the Creative Arts Needs and Value Accessibility Service Canvas Project. This was authored by Senator Seth Woodbury, sponsored by Minority Party Leader Simone Liang, Judiciary Chair Jonathan C. Stevens, Senator Angelo Gangano, Senator Navia Nair, Senator Shalisa Budai, Senator Anamika Naidu, and Senator Asif Islam. I'm the only person present, I think, on this, so I'll present briefly. This is pretty straightforward. Obviously, this is vested within the articles that are established within our Constitution. This isn't some just loose interpretation. I think that, even from a touchless standpoint, this checks out because what this is just doing is it's just allowing for us to disperse the money that obviously is within we have the authority as the legislature to control and disperse funds, but it specifically orders the student body president to be able to execute that authority. I think there's a couple issues that we can see here. Number one, just the fact that I think it's the whereas clause that says as stipulated in Article 4, Section 4A, where it says the Senate President, that should be the student body president. That could be quickly amended. Obviously, the laws that were established within this provision are within SSB 2023-1026, which authorized that money under the student body president's jurisdiction. Furthermore, this also allows for us to create an important commission. So this not only allows for us to have individuals with a potentially independent body to authorize this, but it also allows for the author of this to be able to oversee this project, which I think overall just allows for us to be able to accomplish that directive more effectively, considering this is their idea and this their vision and their purpose would be presented here. I think from a 5 criteria standpoint, this is approvable and fine. I think this needs to be forwarded to the Budget and Appropriations Committee because it is a bill of, it is a budgetary bill. But otherwise, I don't really see any sort of issues regarding this. That's what I have to say. I yield. And so we'll go ahead and move on to 5 minutes of debate. Any members wishing to speak in debate? Question and answer, excuse me. Vice Chair Marcelino.
It says it's an authorization ordering Senate budgetary funds. However, in the therefore clause, it says from the SG project line under the student body president.
Yeah, so to clarify that was, again, a clerical issue that I think was just missed when trying to transfer this from Senate to the executive branch funding. I think that a quick amendment just to say SG projects line fund, like budgetary funds, can be amendable in the title, same as the other amendments that I mentioned.
Okay.
Any members wishing to speak in question and answer? Okay, we'll move on to debate. Any members wishing to speak in debate? All right, 2 minutes of final privilege. I will waive, and we will move on to motions. Vice Chair Marcelino.
I move to amend the title of the bill to state Student Senate Bill 2023-1209 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
Follow
up.
I move to amend the 6 whereas clause to striking Senate President and adding student body president by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. Follow up.
I move to amend the title of the bill to state to strike Senate budgetary funds and adding SG project line funds by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. Follow up.
I move to approve SSB 2023-1209 with a recommendation for it to be forwarded to the Budget and Appropriations Committee by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. SSB 2023-1209 has been approved and forwarded to the budget and recommended to be forwarded to the Budget and Appropriations Committee. Just make sure everything looks good. All right, we're going to move on to SSB 2023-1211. This is the Senate resolution promoting and supporting on-campus thrifting initiatives. This was authored by Green Caucus Chairman Nathaniel Pelton, sponsored by Senate President Oscar Santiago Perez, Senator Ana Alvarez, Senator Raj Mia, Judiciary Chairperson Jonathan C. Stevens, Minority Party Leader Simone Liang, Senator Anna Huber, Senator Navia Nair, and Senate President Pro Tempore Nathan McGuinness. Will an author responsibly present? You will have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Yeah, so I think. Oh, sorry. So I think this is a really great initiative. I believe all of you stated that you already support it. I have a whole list of, I think it's like 11 extra sponsors I need to add, so really excited about that. Otherwise, yeah, I'm excited to see this happen. I think having on-campus thrifting initiatives is a really great thing, not only for the environment, but for people to enjoy. So, I yield.
Thank you. Any members wishing to speak in Q&A?
Slay.
Debate? 2 minutes of final privilege?
I waive.
And then any motions? Vice Chair Marcelino.
I move to amend the title of the bill to state Citizen Resolution 2023-1211 by unanimous consent.
Any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
Follow
up.
I move to add myself, Senator Monish Beecher-Garagovin, Senator Chancellor Wilson, Senator Abby Whitaker, Senator Samantha Kingard, Senator Raj Mia, Senator Saket Thamara, Senator Matthew Reich, Senator Lori Wang, Information and Communications Chairman Ethan Gozali, to the sponsors line by unanimous consent.
You said you want Matt or Matthew?
Matthew, please.
That's what I figured.
What's with the change up, Matt?
See, I thought it was like more like dignified. I'm an adult now, like big boy.
Okay.
I'm a senator now. You gotta go Matthew.
Okay, Matthew.
All right,
No,
cool.
in
Are there
person.
any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes.
Follow up.
I
move to approve SSB 2023-1211 by unanimous consent.
Any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. SSB 2023-1211 has been approved. We're now moving on to SSB 2023-1212. This is the resolution calling for the decriminalization and/or legalization of marijuana and cannabis substances within the University of Florida campus, the city of Gainesville, in the state of Florida. This was authored by myself and was sponsored by Senator Hannah Ali, Senator Daniel Pelton, and Senator Angelo Gangano. I will have 5 minutes to present. You can go ahead. All right. So I'm going to explain this briefly. So obviously, a lot of the sources have been pretty much linked on this provision, pretty much delineating a lot of the policy that I've encountered, a lot of the research that I found. I think that at the end of the day, like I've stated within the last therefore let it be further resolved clause, this provision, I think that it's important that we as a student government are kind of acknowledging that, we don't really condone or condemn drug use, but we're just respecting the right for folks to make those decisions on their own health and well-being. Some folks, like I've stated, and especially with the research that's come out, not only within Harvard University, but other esteemed university systems and research fellowships, have denoted the benefits that have been provided by utilizing THC and any other types of the chemicals that are come within, I guess, compounds that are within marijuana or cannabis or cannabidiol, CBD. Obviously, CBD is more legal, and so obviously it's just more so just ensuring that it's a complete package, just in the case that there are certain aspects that are not legalized. But again, I think that it's important for us to think about the way that we as a government are positioning ourselves when it comes to this conversation. I think it's critical that instead of us attacking this from there are health concerns or things that may come from this, recognizing that people who are put at a higher propensity of going to jail because they're dealing with mental health issues or dealing with a multitude of other healthcare issues like multiple sclerosis, which is noted, chronic pain, sleep, like insomnia or sleep issues, or even going through chemotherapy.
that if they feel like those are the methods that they want to be able to take on, obviously they can reach for a medical card, but depending on we can't assume that every student has the financial capabilities to even obtain one. That this simply just allows for those students to know that, again, we're fighting for them and that we're fighting for a campus that's not going to criminalize students based off of a gram of pot, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, just in my opinion. But that's pretty much all I have to say. I've sourced as much as I could, and I'll yield my time.
Thank you, Chairperson Stevens. We're now in line for 5 minutes of question and answer. Are there any members wishing to speak in question and answer? Seeing none, we're now in line for 5 minutes of debate. Are there any members wishing to speak in debate? Seeing none, we're now in line for 2 minutes of final privilege. Chairperson Stevens.
Yeah, again, my statement still stands on those matters. I think that obviously this is just an opportunity for us to address this issue that, again, affects some of our constituents. It definitely affects some of my constituents who utilize these types of substances. And again, it helps to set a standard for not only our generation, but future generations to come, that drug usage like this should not be something that should be criminalized, but instead, if we need to address this problem, that we can address it through more comprehensive health-based means. I yield.
Thank you. We're now in line for motions. Are there any members wishing to make a motion? Senator Reich.
I move to title this bill, SSB 2023 1211, 1212,
12-12.
1212 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections to amending the title of the bill to state Student Senate Resolution 2023-1212? Seeing none, the motion passes.
And I move.
Senator Reich.
I move to approve this resolution by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections to approving SSB 2023-1212 by unanimous consent? Seeing none, the motion passes. SSB 2023-1212 is procedurally approved. Yes, that's what Jonathan says. Okay, I now release the chair back to Chairperson Stevens. Oh, there's another one.
Yeah, you can get
it.
So.
I relinquished the relinquishing. Where is it? Sorry. We're now in line to hear Student Senate Bill 2023-1213. Main author, sponsor, please present.
Yes.
5 minutes whenever you're ready, Chairperson Stevens.
Yeah, so I was approached by a couple constituents within not only Islam on campus, but within other different religious organizations on campus that don't have an established location for them to be able to worship. Specifically, you have organizations like Gator Wesley, Baptist College Ministries. We see them if you were going down University Ave, where you see that they have an established physical location where they're able to conduct worship or fellowship or whatever religious practices or activities that they like to conduct. But there are other organizations on our campus, like, for instance, Greenhouse College, or even Islam on campus, that don't have a designated space on campus for them to be able to conduct these types of prayer spaces. Strategically, Islam on campus strategically has prayer services, I think if I'm correct, on Fridays around, I think, 6 or 7 p.m. I may be incorrect, but I know it's on a Friday. And obviously, I think that it's critical that we think about the way that we're structuring this campus to be more inclusive to those different types of religious organizations and entities, especially with their ability to practice their religions in the way that they see fit. I mean, there's a multitude of rooms up in the Rights Union that could be able to accommodate for those means that, again, could just be strategically reserved just for those folks to be able to practice their practice their religion. I think also we can consider the fact that, again, these different constituents are not necessarily going to, in a way, be impeding on the entirety of the functionality of campus if they're having one strategic space on campus to conduct one specific prayer service, or maybe two, depending on how they see fit. And I think that this just, again, helps to promote the religious inclusivity on campus that not only the CIME has put forth, but I think that we as student senators, Senator Reich has done in previous resolutions, that we can be able to help set that standard that, folks who want to find a space on campus can do so, and organizations shouldn't have to struggle to find a space just to pray amongst each other. I yield.
Thank you, Chairperson Stevens. We're now in line for 5 minutes of question and answer. Are there any members wishing to speak in question and answer? Seeing none, we're now in line for 5 minutes of debate. Are there any members wishing to speak in debate? Senator Mera.
I concur with the sentiments expressed in this bill, but I would also implore if the Judiciary Chairperson is willing to work alongside me as the Chair of the Rights Board of Managers on actions already taken and that will be taken in the future to make the Rights Union more inclusive space to these
First.
Well, any other members wishing to speak in debate? Seeing none, we're now in line. Anyways, so we're now in line for 2 minutes of final privilege.
I waive.
Seeing none, we're now in line for motions on the bill.
I have a motion.
Chairperson Stevens.
Yeah, I apologize. This was the only thing I overlooked. I moved to. Can you please show me the name again? I just want to make sure I got the last name correctly. I moved to amend the proviso in order to state Islam on campus president Omar Ateya by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections to the amendment to the proviso to state Islam on campus president? By unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow up.
I moved to amend the title in order to say SSB 2023-1213 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections to amending the title to state Student Senate Resolution 2023-1213 by unanimous consent? Seeing none, the motion passes. Senator Demira.
I move to amend the proviso to also include Pakistani Student Association President Aaron Sindhu by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections to the amendment of the proviso? Seeing
Student
none,
Association.
Pakistani Student Association, yes.
are there any objections to amending the proviso to add Pakistani Student Association President Aaron Sindhu by unanimous consent? Seeing none, the motion passes.
Follow up. Or not follow up.
Chairperson Stevens.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I move to. Are there any individuals wanting to sponsor this? Senator Nathaniel Pelton to the sponsors line. Senator Saket Demir, Senator Matthew Rice, Senator Lori Wang. I've already offered this. Senate President Oscar Santiago Perez. Are you guys wanting to sponsor? I'm not forcing. I'm just curious. This was 1213. This was the religious space on campus.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Were you? Yeah, and then Vice Chair Marcelino by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections to the amendment of the proviso, amendment of the sponsors line to add that list of senators? Seeing none, the motion passes.
Follow up.
Follow up.
I move to approve SSB 2023-1213 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections to approving SSB 2023-1213 by unanimous consent? Seeing none, the motion passes. SSB 2023-1213 is approved.
All right.
Yippee! I will now release the chair.
What if I refuse to? All right, let's go move on to the Chief Justice nomination. This is Julia Van de Bogart. We've already reviewed her, but I'll give some time for y'all to review her nomination. While I put in these, just let me know after I'm done. McGinnis, Senator Nathaniel, Judiciary, Vice Chair. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Yep, that's it. All right. No, I know. I was kind of extra. Just let me know when y'all are ready. Okay. Let's go into discussion. Yep, Vice Chair Marcelino.
Quite frankly, with seeing as how the acting Chief Justice has conducted herself in regard to her duties to not just making sure that the records which are public in regard to many of the cases that are pending in the court, I do not see her as being the most qualified amongst the justices that sit on the court presently, as well as seeing as some of her what do you call this? Just the way that she has ruled on certain rulings, especially since I'm seeing the debate and the rulings of the sentencing rulings of certain justices upon the court. I see that some of her logic is sort of flawed, and that is not something that I would like to see in Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
Any members wishing to speak in debate? I not only concur with the Vice Chair's sentiments, but I'd actually like to postulate just the pretty practical response that just took a quick Google search to accomplish. Chief Justice John Roberts, the Honorable Chief Justice John Roberts of the United States Supreme Court, was not not an associate justice prior to their admission into the Chief Justice position. I think that there is a multitude of individuals, again, like Janelle Roll, Brittany Diaz, Mark Freeman, who possess the qualities and the vernacular and the skill sets in order to be able to execute the duties of Chief Justice. I think that it's just been frustrating, the fact that, again, while sure me and the Senate President may have received the records that were requested, the fact that we had to ask on a multitude of times, and also ask in not only just that way, but also to nearly, use basic provisions to be able to compel her, again, presentation of that material is just concerning. I think that just, again, with what Senator Rice said in the previous meeting about the fact that she is the only person who's stayed on the court, and that, because of timeline that's effective, I just, again, with this John Roberts, just basic analysis. John Roberts, I feel like for most folks is not a very controversial judge. He rules based off of the principles that he's been guided for. He's made certain decisions in his time that have made other folks upset, but again, the law is complex and it's hard for us to analyze that. I think that it's just critical for us to recognize the importance of having folks who are going to follow the rule of law, that are going to look at the provisions of the law, that are going to uphold the Constitution, and again, apply it correctly. I think that you withholding documents just because for some arbitrary and capricious reason is not something that rises to the bar of Chief Justice. I just compel this committee to fail the nomination and compel the student body president to instead reconsider that nomination moving forward. I yield. Any members wishing to speak in debate? Okay, we're going to move into motions. Vice Chair Marcelino?
I move to fail Julia Vanderbilt for Chief Justice. My unanimous consent.
Are there any objections?
I move the same by roll call vote.
Awesome. All right, Vice Chair Marcelino?
Yes.
Senator Wing? No. Senator Reich?
No.
Senator DeMera? And I'll vote no. That's a 2 to 3 vote. Thank you. That motion fails.
You voted no.
Or yes, excuse me. Yeah, you're right. My bad. That motion fails. Any motions at this time? Senator Reich?
I move to approve Julia Vanderbilt by roll call vote.
All right, gotcha. Senator Senator DeMera?
Yes.
Senator Reich?
Yes.
Senator Wang?
Yes.
Vice Chair Marcelino?
No.
And I'll vote no. That's going to be a 3 to 2 vote, and that motion passes. Excuse me. Julia Vanderbilt will be forwarded to the Student Senate for not inclusion on this agenda, but the next agenda, as she was not presented in time for the Student Senate to review her nomination. We're going to now move on to veto legislation.
I sent the email.
You sent the email?
Yep.
She wasn't approved, though. So that's null and void.
I disagree, but
We're going to now move on to the veto legislation that should have been already sent out to you all.
How are we kind of parliamentary inquiry? Are we just going to go about it like we would any other bill?
We're going to go about it as any other bill, sure. We're just going to review based off the 5 criteria.
Okay.
But we can't fail it.
We cannot fail it. We would have to just put forward either amendments or move it forward to the Senate, and it will have to be overridden. So the motion to fail is not eligible for this in this matter. Motion to table, not eligible in this matter. We're going to have to move forward with it, so it's just making a determination on the bill. We're going to move on to SSB 2023-1097, the Office Hour Transparency Act 200 Codes Revision. This was authored by Senator Raj Mia and sponsored by Judiciary Chair Joaquin R.C. Marcelino. Again, we'll review this like any other bill, but again, just please try to follow those procedures as denoted. Vice Chair Marcelino, you'll have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Oh wait, I'm presenting this.
Yep.
Ooh. Oh. Yippee. Let me pull it up actually.
Yeah, it's 1097. Should have been in the
Yeah,
veto.
yeah.
Information.
Go ahead.
Is there a motion that's been made to suspend the rules and move to approve the bill that is sent right now?
If I waive.
I would like to hear debate. I think that considering the fact that there have been many veto bills that have come before this committee or at least come before the Senate that have just been. I just would like us to discuss this so that the record's clear.
Which one? 1097 or 1112?
But to answer your question, yes, you can make that motion if you wanted to. It's going to be 1097, Office Hour Transparency Act 200 Codes Revision.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is honestly pretty much so straightforward. It's basically just letting our constituents know and the entirety of the student body know when and where and how they may reach their these officials within their required office hours. We're not saying that we're not exactly legislating how and when, where and why they do those things, just basically that they be posted in order for the student body to better be able to access those. So I think it's a very cut and dry piece of legislation, if I may say so myself. And so, yeah, I yield.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Marcelino. We're going to have 5 minutes of question and answer. Any questions? We're going to move on to debate. Any debate? Senator DeMera.
I'm not going to comment on the student body president's reading, but in accordance with the purview that the Judiciary Committee has and the review of the legislation on the 5 criteria, and saying this is how this committee has already passed this piece of legislation on 5 criteria before, I would urge that this committee also see that this video is on the floor of the Senate.
Any other members wishing to speak in debate? Yeah, 5 criteria wise, this doesn't violate anything. I read the veto message. I'll read it out loud just so that it's clear for the record. This bill intends to post the office hours of several agency heads on the website. While I agree with this sentiment, this bill was never presented to me as an idea I could discuss and evaluate with my team regarding logistics of this. While they are already required to do this time, they can serve in many capacities. We are already brainstorming doing something similar to this, and seeing it's my job under the executive branch, I would like to continue to work on this initiative with my team. Therefore, I'm vetoing this bill. There's just nothing. There's nothing really to say. Like, I don't see how there's anything 5 criteria about this at all. And I will say this was brought to her attention multiple times, and there was no notification back. So, okay. That's all I have to really say on the matter. Any members wishing to speak in debate? We'll move on to 2 minutes of final privilege.
I waive.
Any motions at this time? Vice Chair Marcelino.
I move to approve, once again, SSB 2023-1097, that it be heard by the Student Senate without amendment by unanimous consent.
Any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. All right, we're going to now, that's been forwarded, and it's been forwarded for an override unless an amendment was made by Senator. We're going to move on to the next one, which is the Pending Acts, Rules, and Mandates, PARM Act. This was authored by Judiciary Chair Jonathan C. Stevens, sponsored by Judiciary Vice Chair Joaquin R.C. Marcelino and Senator Angelo Gangano. 5 minutes to present. I will be holding the chair for now, because I'll go ahead and just briefly make this quick. I'll read the veto message. This bill intends to publish all pending legislation onto the website prior to it being approved through the committees and Senate. While I encourage senators to continue writing legislation and sharing your ideas with your constituents, posting legislation has not yet been reviewed nor approved by the committee and or the Senate can cause great confusion to the readers as well as disarray to the legislative website. Therefore, I'm vetoing this bill. I'll go ahead and just read off the bill just to make sure that we're all clear. So, all pending legislation submitted to the legislative branch shall be posted in a conspicuous manner on the legislative page of the student government website. That's 303.2. The following one just establishes that the provisions for chairs. The following one also establishes the Senate Secretary's responsibility in this matter. Respectfully, as an author of this, but also as someone who never received a notification from Olivia Green, go figure. I just think that it's kind of ridiculous that, again, we're being brought this issue onto the set. That, again, I think that there is no issue, especially when you read all pending legislation shall be posted in a conspicuous manner. Conspicuous is very clearly denoting that there needs to be some level of authority or very clear designation that this is pending legislation. I think that what's frustrating me with this is that we're assuming that like nobody's going to put in the work to say pending legislation on a website when we have a whole section that says bills, when we have a whole section that has other denotions. I seriously struggle to figure out how this is an issue. This is just letting our constituents know. In fact, this is aligning with the legislative chapter that we approved in the AAA Act that we've approved back in summer 23. I just don't. I don't see where the problem is, but again, I entertain any amendments or commentary from members in this committee, so I yield. We're going to go ahead and move on to question and answer. Are there any questions at this time? Vice Chair Marcelino.
Do not the Senate secretaries post some legislation that has not been approved yet by the Senate onto the website at times?
Correct. Yeah, there's a lot of bills that are actually currently on the website that don't denote any sort of whether it was approved, whether it was failed, whether it was tabled. So, it's already confusing on its own. Go ahead.
So is this with your intent of the bill just to be able to also just reorganize that a bit properly so that it is more conspicuous to say that these are things that have been introduced but not yet failed or passed or approved or no action has been taken yet?
I wouldn't say that's necessarily an intent that I have, a whole intent, but I think that there's definitely some way for us to be able to clearly have that denoted. I think that it's important for us to let people know that if there's pending legislation, that this is pending, and that if it's continuously pending, then it's not approved. I think this fits into a lot of the aspects of ensuring that we know what is a student body bill or a student body law. And I think that can be very clearly done if the Senate secretaries or officials were to follow this matter in the way that it's written. So not a whole intent, but I think there's partial intent within that to do that. Yes?
Are there any instances of the state, federal, local government doing the same?
Legislative trackers are a very notable but also very regular, functionality of a legislature. That's what you're asking. Florida State has a legislative tracker, U.S. House, U.S. Senate, legislative trackers. You go to other states, they also have legislative trackers. It's kind of an important way to denote public records. So, yeah. Vice Chair Marcelino.
Has there also not been a student-led initiative in the development of an application towards this sort of same end with regard to legislation trackers, making sure that things that have been proposed, that there's action taken and then finally approved?
Yes, there has been.
That's all my questions.
Any members wishing to speak in Q&A? Debate by Senator DeMera.
Same sentiment as before on 5 criteria.
Any members wishing to speak in debate? 2 minutes of final privilege. I will waive and we'll move into motions. Senator Reich.
I move to approve this onto the floor of the Senate by unanimous consent.
Any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. We're now into announcements. Any announcements at this time? Yes.
Sorry.
Oh.
Don't take the elevator at the right.
Yeah, that may need to be a resolution, child. The only announcement I have is if you want to engage with queer folks on campus, the Press Union is having a GBM tomorrow in the New Physics Building, room 1002. It's a great opportunity for you to learn more about queer liberation and the importance of being an activist and an ally to the queer community if you do not occupy that space.
Fine, sorry.
6 p.m. and it's doors open 6, starts at 6:30. Any members wishing to provide an announcement? Seeing none, I adjourn this meeting at 8:35 p.m. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
I'm so glad you're out.
Thank you. I was like, what the fuck's happening?
I've never heard that announcement. That's shocking.
I BD maybe.
You'll get the email in the morning. You'll get the email in the morning. I'm done.
I only missed one motion.
That's fine. Thank you.
This is an insert point.